Very good evening and welcome to the first B Division ACST match of the year. We have two matches going on today, Bob Lee and Mike Legendre, Dan Finn and Mike Capone. And for the format today, the two visiting bowlers will bowl first. They are not head-to-head. And then the home bowlers will bowl. They'll each bowl 5 boxes and then switch to the home bowlers. There will be a total of 5 strings bowled today, 2 points for each string, and 4 points for a total potential of 14 points to accumulate toward the year's point total. I'm Dan Castle. I'll be your host tonight, and let's get started. So we're on the lanes 21 and 22 in Millis. Dan Finn on the right, Bob Lee on the left, and again they're not bowling head-to-head. They are the visiting bowlers for the two matches. And Danny just rolled 8 on his first ball. And Bob starts with 6. Dan misses a spare, Bob misses a spare, both clean. And Danny picks up the 10. Nice pinning. And Bob for the 10. Picks up 9. Dan with a good first ball on the 2-pin, or on the 3-pin, I'm sorry, and drops 9, leaves only the head pin. Bob on the 3, coming left to right, leaves 6 pins, picks up 4. Dan for the spare. Misses left. Bob on the head pin, a little left, light, and leaves everything, takes everything but the 7 pin, I'm sorry. Dan takes a 9. And Bob picks up 10. So both have 19 after 2 boxes. Dan way off to the right on the 6 pin. Drops 5. Bob in the right-hand pocket drops 8. Oh, and there it goes. Dan makes a spare. The 7 pin was a little hesitant about going, but it finally dropped. And Bob just misses. And Bob picks up a 10. So after 3, Dan is 29 in a ball, and Bob is 29. On the fill. Nice ball. Takes out 7, leaves the 2, 8, and 10. Or 2, 8, and 10 with some wood that may help. Bob drops 7 on his first ball. Leaves a left-handed triangle. And Dan just misses it. That wood just rolled behind it. A great effort. Bob goes wide. And Dan misses a 10 pin for a 9 box. He is at 45 after 4 boxes. And Bob nicely done in the triangle, 39 after 4 boxes. Dan on the head pin, leaves 3 and 1. He's got to cut over one of those pins to make the spare. And just picks up the 7. Dan wide to the right, picks up the 10. And Bob's hoping for a big ball here. Nice ball. Leaves a diamond. And Danny finishes with a 9 for 54 after 5 boxes. And Bob nicely cleans up that diamond for a 10 box. He has 49 after 5 boxes. Dan's got 1 mark. Bob doesn't have any, but both pinned great. Bob only left 1 pin on the deck. So 49 with no marks is not a bad half, actually. But he's obviously going to want to get some marks. Now we see Mike Capone and Mike Legendre, the Mikes. Mike Capone on the right, Mike Legendre on the left. And Mike Capone is bowling against Dan Finn. Nice first ball. Takes 7. Mike Legendre bowling against Bob Lee. And it's a disappointing leave over what looked like a great ball in the right-hand pocket. And Mike Capone wide to the left, misses a triangle. Mike Legendre has a challenging spare. Let's see if he can get it. He makes the effort. That was the way to do it. And Capone for a 9. Legendre, what a shot! What a shot. He brought the wood off and swept the back row. That was beautiful. You don't see that every day. Capone on the 4-pin. Takes out 3. Legendre with a great first ball, takes out 8. See what that wood does for him. Capone's got to go in the right-hand pocket, which he does, and he picks up the spare. Perfectly shot. Now, Mike Legendre has some challenging wood here. Otherwise, what would be a fairly straightforward shot, the wood's going to be tough. And he does it. He takes the wood to the right, spins it around. Both pick up a spare. So at 2, we've got Mike Legendre, 20 plus a ball. Mike Capone, 19 plus a ball. And Capone off on the 4-pin again, but picks up 8 in the fill. Legendre picks up 7 in the fill. And we need a score correction here. Yep. So for those of you with a scoreboard up above, we have automatic scoring here in Millis at Ryan's Family Amusements, and sometimes the camera doesn't pick up a late falling pin. Okay, Legendre trying to pick up another spare and misses. Both have their third ball on a nice split, a 1-10 or a 5-10 or a 1-7. So terribly difficult splits, but when they go, they're beautiful. Okay, 8 for Capone, 9 for Legendre. Mike Capone's 35 after 3. Mike Legendre's 36 after 3. Capone on his first ball, just misses a pocket, just goes by the head pin. Leaves 4 and 1, what we frequently call the Colery here. Legendre has a great first ball, picks up 9. Capone just goes a little wide, picks up the single in the back. Legendre's going for a single pin and misses right. And Mike Capone finishes with a 9 box. Mike Legendre also with a 9 box. Going into the 5th box, Mr. Capone has a 8, and it came in on a 2-pin. Mike Legendre came in on the 3-pin and leaves 3 and 2. So a tough shot here. Nice bid on that, picked up the head pin. And Legendre, is it going to push? Not quite. Beautifully done. but a 10-pin stands. And Capone picks up the 7-pin. Legendre misses a 10-pin, so at the end of 5, Mike Legendre has 54 and Mike Capone has 54. So in the Dan Finn versus Mike Capone match, Dan and Mike are both tied at 54. And in Legendre versus Lee, we have 54 to 49. And that's in favor of Mike Legendre. So Bob Lee on his first ball goes off to the 2-pin, picks up 7 pins, and he's got the 1, 3, and 10 with some interesting wood. Dan Finn was in the left-hand pocket and leaves the diamond right. And Bob Lee found a way to go through the hole. He'd like to have that ball over again. And Danny goes to the right on the diamond. No spares for either one. Well, now you have to wonder if that would have gone anyway. The wood kind of deadened the ball, and he takes out 1, so Bob ends up with an 8 box. Danny ends up with a 9 box. So both Bob and Danny bowl out of Millis here. I bowl against them frequently. Both of them are in, Bob's in his 2nd year in the ACST, Dan's in his 3rd year. On the first ball, Bob drops 4, Dan drops 8 in an interesting split that's, the wood might help, I don't know. Bob picks up a few more, has 7 down. And Dan made a bit at the wood, but it didn't carry over to the left. Had the right idea. And Bob picks up the 9 box. Dan's going to try the wood. He gets a 9 box. So after 7 boxes, Dan Finn has 72. Bob Lee has 66. Again, they're not bowling against each other. Bob is bowling against Mike Legendre. Dan's bowling against Mike Capone. Bob on his first ball in the 8th box. Nice ball. Drops 8. Has a very makeable spare here with the 3, 6 pin. Dan off to the left has 4 horsemen right. Oh, just a little to the right, and leaves the 3 pin. And Dan picks off the head pin. Now try to clean it up in the 3rd ball. That was close. Wasn't much wiggle room on that one. He just missed that. So Bob has a 9 box, and Dan ends up with a 9 box. So Dan has 81 after 8. Bob 75 after 8. Bob would like to make a couple spares in these last 2 boxes. Give himself a shot at this one. A lot of good pin action, but he ends up with a 4 horseman plus a 5 pin. Dan right on the 2 pin was fortunate it wasn't a half oyster, but he took out 4. He's got a split to make. Bob right in there. Is the 10 going to go? The 10 is thinking about it, but it is going to stay. Dan did a great job cutting that head pin over, but it was a little flat and didn't take out the other 2. Bob takes out the 10 for a 10 box, 85 after 9. And Dan has a 10, 91 after 9. So far, Bob hasn't found a mark. He's hoping to get one here. And a 1, 2, 10 split. It's makeable, it's tough, but you got to hit it just right. Hands off on the 4-pin, takes out 2. And Bob in the middle of that mess, so hope to close out with a 9 or 10. Dan picks up some more, has 3 left. And Bob ends up with a 9 box for a 94. Dan picks up 10 for a 101. So a 94 without any marks is actually not a bad game in terms of pinning, though I know that he really wants to be a lot higher than that to challenge Mike Legendre. So Mike Legendre on the right now, Mike Capone on the left. Legendre on the 3-pin, takes out everything but the 4 horsemen. Capone in the pocket, leaves the 2-5-7 split. Legendre wide to the right, 4 horsemen remain. And Capone dropped the ball a little bit, went to the right. Legendre picks up 1 for a 7 box. So he is at 61 after 6. And Capone gets a 9. It puts him at 63. So at this point in the game, Mike Capone is tied with Dan Finn, 63 each. Mike Legendre is 4 pins up, 61 to 57. Capone drops 8, Legendre dropped 5, 4 horsemen plus 5, and he makes a good bid for that. Takes everything but the 6 and 10 pin. And Capone goes wide. And Mike Legendre ends up with a 10 box. So now he's gotten ahead of Bob. He's 71 to Bob's 66. He's still ahead of Bob, I'm sorry. But he's picked up another pin, so now he is 5 pins up on Bob. And Mike Capone ends up with a 72. He remains tied with Danny Finn, who also has 72 through 7. Mike Legendre right in the pocket. Beautiful shot. He's got a left-handed check mark. And Capone again on the head pin. A little bit light of a hit. It takes out 2, leaves the 4-7. And Capone going to try to use that wood. Doesn't work. Nice try. Deflected the ball, but it didn't quite go far enough. And Legendre ends up with a 10 for 81 after 8 to Bob Lee's 75. And Mike Capone right on the face of the 7 pin. He has 82 to Dan Finn's 81 at the 8th box, so he's up a pin. And that was a beautiful ball. It looked like it was going to be a split for a second, but thankfully for Mike, it was not. He's left with only the 7 pin, drops 9. And Mike took that out of the gutter, so that won't count, so he ends up with a 9 box. So he's at 90 after 9 boxes. Mike Capone for the 4 horsemen takes out just the head pin, and he has 3 remaining. He's at 7, so he needs to pick up at least 2 of these to stay even with Dan Finn. And he picks up all 3, so he's at 92. We have a 1-pin game on the left, 92 to 91. Mike Capone's ahead of Dan Finn. Mike Legendre's up by 5 pins on Bob Lee. He just dropped 5. And Capone in the pocket takes out 7. And Legendre gets a spare. As Bob Lee said, he earned that, and he definitely earned that. He was right on that. And Capone misses to the right. So Mike Capone needs 1 pin to tie, 2 pins to win this string. And he picks up 2 of them, and he wins by 1 pin. 102 to 101.
Oh, that's a big one for the total.
And Mike Legendre drops 9 in his fill. And we'll put the scores up here in a second. And Mike Legendre ends up with a 109 to Bob Lee's 94. So again, the first string, Mike Legendre, 109 and 94, Bob Lee, and 102 to 101, Mike Capone and Dan Finn. Okay, we're into the second string, and a little bit about our bowlers here while they're bowling. So up currently are Dan Finn on the right and Bob Lee on the left. Both bowl out of Millis, and Dan is well known in bowling circles for his Outrun the Bear tournament that he runs, and as well as he is the person primarily one of the people who runs the ACST. Dan has a 106 average, and he just picked up a $10 for his first box. And to date, his high single is 175. I think someday he might go ahead of that. High 3, 382, and his high 5, 615. Bob Lee ends up with a 7 box to start. Bob also bowls here out of Millis. Currently runs a 104 average. The high single of 162. A high triple of 379 and a high 5 of 579. I bowl both of these guys frequently. They're both challenging bowlers to bowl against. Danny Finn picks up a spare in the second box. But we have a lot of fun bowling each other. And Bobby picks up the spare. Great. Spares in his second for both of them. Okay, on the fill. Off to the right, but a nice 7 fill for Dan. 27 after 2. Bob also has a 7 fill, so he has 24 after 2. Dan for the spare. A little light on the head pin. Bob's got a challenging split here to make. And that was interesting where he kicked that wood over, but only got 2. Danny picks up a 10 for 37 after 3. Or as Bob would say, he's 7 over par. And Bob misses a single for a 9 box, so Bob's at 33. And again, this is week 1 of the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. This is our B division, and all of these bowlers in the B division typically have averages of 100 to 110. And Danny picks up another spare. And the ACST has expanded dramatically this year. Less than a width of a pin, Bob. Yeah, we're on the ACST. I need to share it over to Candlepin Network. It's on the ACST group in Facebook right now. If you could share it over to Candlepin chat, that would be helpful. All right, and Danny gets 6 in the fill. And Bob drops 6. So Dan's chasing the 4 horsemen right. And Dan to like his approach. We'll try that again. And then just to the right of the head pin. And Bob's ball was in the same place. Same result for both of them. Head pin left standing alone. Dan ends up with a 9 box, 62 after 5. Bob trying to pin here. And he picks up the head pin, so Bob is at 53 after 5. So again, Dan Finn at 62 after 5, Bob Lee at 53 after 5. And now the home bowlers go. Got a bit of a wait for a second. Make sure everybody's ready. So the two Mikes both also bowl out of Millis. So we have a Millis match here all the way around. And Mike Legendre runs about a 106 to 108 average. Took a little time off of bowling this summer. And Mike's high singles a 184. His high triple 454 and high five 723, which I believe was a house record here for Millis. And then Mike Capone has a high single of 178, a high triple of 438, and a high five of 701. Currently has a 101 average, but Mike Capone took about 22 years off of bowling before coming back. So I think he's doing fine for somebody with such a long absence. So on the right, Mike Capone just punched out half Worcester left. And as we say, that was right through the money hole. Mike Legendre picks up the spare. He drops 6 on his first ball, so he starts off with a mark. Capone trying to pin. And gets a 6. Not terrible after a 2 after the first ball. You take that and you move on to the next box. Capone on the 3-pin, drops everything but the 1 and 2. And Legendre in the field drops a strike. And in respect to Paul Grant, I will not say wow. So Legendre's got a 20 after the first box, 30 plus 2 balls at the second, and Mike Capone just dropped a spare, and he's at 16 plus a ball. Capone puts it right in the pocket, and he leaves the 4, 5, 7. I call that the castle. A few other people do too. I'm trying to get more. Reason being, I get that a lot when I throw a good ball. And Legendre's third mark in a row. 10 in the fill on the strike, so he's 40 after 2, 50 plus a ball. And Capone ends up with a 9 for 32 after 3. So that 4, 5, 7 is a very frustrating fill, and it's mirror images as well. And I've found that I only get that, and I think it's true for everybody, when we've thrown a really good ball in the pocket, and you just throw a beautiful ball, and you get that really tough to make leave. And there's usually a piece of wood, but it's usually not in the right place. So real challenging leave. Capone drops 6. And made a great effort to pick that up. He had the 1, 7, 10, 3, and got as close as you could get without making it. Legendre, for attempting his 4th mark in a row, just misses. And Capone with a 9 box for 41 after 4. Legendre also for a 9 box for 66 after 4. Capone in the pocket. Beautiful ball, beautiful ball. Looked like a strike. 5-7 split. Legendre off to the right a little bit, picks up 3 pins. 7 remaining on the deck. Capone makes a spare. What a beautiful shot. That, my friends, was a 5-7. That's really tough to make. And Legendre punches out to the left. Now he wants to clean up as much as he can. Has a great half going regardless. And he takes the head pin off the wall, comes back, only takes out 1 more. So after 5, Mike Legendre has 73 to Bob Lee's 53, and Mike Capone has 51 and a ball to Dan Finn's 62. Okay, Bob Lee on the right, Dan Finn on the left. Bob Lee's got some work to do. He's down 20 after 5. And Finn with some great ball action on a 3-pin, left with 7 down, left with a 3. Bob Lee takes out everything to 3 pins. And Dan Finn for the mark. And Bob Lee goes wide, and ends up with a 7 box. Bob Lee on his first ball goes a little bit wide to the left, takes out 4. He's up for 3 and 1. You either got to deflect the ball off the 1 pin or deflect the 1 pin over. Danny with 5 in the fill. Bob goes wide to the right, leaves the 1-7 split. And Danny put that one through the hole. Oh, nice try. Bob tried to drive the ball over to the 7 pin, didn't quite take it, but a great effort for a 9 box. After 7, Danny ends up with a 6 box, so after 7, Bob Lee has 69. Dan Finn has 83. Bob in the pocket. Drops 8. That's what appears to be favorable wood. We'll see. Dan on the 2 pin. Takes out 5. Very similar leave to what he had last time. And Bob with a mark. Wood deflected the ball off the wall and came back. And Danny almost got it too. So Bob needs to mark here. He needs to keep marking. Big fill and another. And that will be off the dead wood, so that ball won't count. Dan ends up with a 9 box, so 92 after 8. Bob Lee's at 79 plus a ball. He needs a big fill here. And his ball took a little bit of a break to the left, so he ends up with a Cleary right. 5 in the fill for 84 after 5, or after 8, I'm sorry. Dan drops 8. And he just misses a head pin. So he needs to clean up the remaining 4 pins. Dan on a spare shot. And goes wide left. And Bob cleans up 3 out of 4. For 9 box, he's at 93 after 9. Dan ends up with an 8 box for 100 after 9. wants a big box here. Strike would be very favorable for him. And it sure looked like a strike ball going in, but he drops 8. Dan off on the 2-pin, leaves 5 pins, 4 horsemen plus the 9-pin. And Dan just, or Mike, I get one of them right. Bob just misses the spare. And Dan drops everything but the 10-pin. Yeah. Sometimes with the bowlers, for me, it's like with my kids. I have to go through the list to get to the right one. Bob ends up with a 9-box. 102 is his total for the second string. Dan Finn ends up with a 10-box. He has a 110 for his second string. So both have improved from their first string. And now we have Mike, the Mikes again. Mike Legendre on the right, Mike Capone on the left. And Legendre drops 7 to start. Capone drops 7 as well. Legendre for the spare. Makes that wood dance, but it didn't come back far enough. Capone, same thing. Everything dances around, leaves that single pin in the 7-pin on the right. Legendre with a 9-box, 82 after 6. And Capone for the 10, and just misses, so he's at 67 after 6. Both these guys are throwing a pretty solid ball. Legendre's last ball was a strike ball. He's throwing around 31, 32 miles an hour by the house system. And Capone is throwing anywhere from 27 to 30 miles an hour. That last ball was 26. Legendre, another mark. Beautifully done. I've bowled Mike many times, and I don't like to bowl him when he's bowling hot like this. He will just keep marking and marking and marking. And Mike Capone with a 9-box for 76 after 7. So at this point, Legendre has 92 plus a ball. Here's his fill. And it's a 7 fill for 99 at the 7th box. Mike Capone drops 6. So after 7, Legendre's 99 to Bob Lee's 69. Capone 76 to Dan Finn's 83. So Capone can catch up. Mike Legendre's really got an edge here, 30 pins. And a 10-box for Mike Legendre. 109 after 8. So he's already won this string. And 10 for Mike Capone. He's at 86 to Dan Finn's 92. So he's down 6. And so right now Mike Legendre is just adding pins for total. And everything but the 5-pin all the way around. Capone on the head pin. That's 3 and 1. And Legendre another mark. 119 and a ball after 9. Capone trying to make the split, and he does. Beautifully shot. What a shot. I wish I had instant replay. I'd like to see that one again. So Capone's 96 in a ball to Dan Finn's 100. He can take the lead here potentially. Legendre drops 7. He's 126 after 9. Capone in on the pocket. Oh boy, and he drops 4. So it's 100 to 100 in the ninth. So he needs a spare to win, a 10 to tie. Legendre drops 2 more. He's going for the spare. Just misses. So his best possible outcome is to tie Dan Finn. And Legendre with a 10 box for a 136. Big game. And Mike Capone ends up with a 110. So Dan Finn 110, Mike Capone 110. We have a tie on that side. Bob Lee 102 to Mike Legendre's 136. So Mike Legendre takes that string. And right now, in terms of points, both Dan Finn and Mike Capone get 1 point for that game. So Dan has 1 point, Mike Capone has 3 points. And on the other string, Mike Legendre picks up 2 points for that string, so he has 4 points to Bob Lee's no points. Into the third game. Dan Finn drops 7. There's a 30-mile-an-hour ball. And Bob Lee's about 29-mile-an-hour ball. So all 4 bowlers are bowling pretty consistently in the same range. Finn misses a spare. Bob going for the spare and picks up the 4 horsemen. Or as some call it, the Kamrowski special for Rick Kamrowski. All right, Finn on his first ball. Come on. Just misses a strike. Drops 9. 7 pin and a piece of wood in front of it. Lee on the fill. Drops 6. So 16 after 1. And Finn has 8 after 1. And Finn going for the mark, and he gets it. Well executed. On the right-hand side of the wood, spun it around. Lee for the spare shot. Just misses. Everything but the head pin. And Lee for the 10. He picks up, misses, and he's at 9. So Bob Lee has 25 after 2. Dan Finn 18. And this ball, which is another 4. So he's at 22 after 2. Bob Lee in the pocket, drops a hammer. No doubt about that one. Beautiful strike. And Dan misses a spare bid. He's left with a 1-7-10 or the high-low jack. Picks up the single for an 8 box, 30 after 3. Finn on the first ball, straight through. 4 on the left, 3 on the right. Spread eagle +1. Bob Lee off on the 6 pin, but he got some action. First ball drops 5. Finn attempting to pick up the spread eagle, picks up 4. There was an extra pin behind the left side. He got that. Lee for the spare. Almost 8 in the fill. So that gives him 43 after 3. Dan Finn with an 8 box for 38 after 4 boxes. Lee trying to pick up 10. It just misses, so he has an 8. 51 after 4. Finn on his first ball. And there it goes. There it goes. What a way to sit down. Another strike. Lee off to the left a little bit. So Dan Finn has 48 plus 2 balls after 5. So 2 for the fill. Lee going for the spare shot. Misses to the left. Now he needs to just clean him up. Thank you. And Bob Lee finishes with a 9 box for a 60 half. He's definitely improving over the last 2 strings. So now Mike Capone on the right, Mike Legendre on the left. And again, Bob Lee has 60 after 5. Dan Finn has 48 and 2 balls after 5. Capone, first ball in the pocket, and leaves a bit of a split here. So he's got the 4, 7, 9, 10. Some wood that may be a factor here. I don't know if he can pick up the left 2 and carry that over. Legendre dropped 5. And the wood deflected the ball away from all standing pins. Legendre picks up a few more, so he's got 2 to shoot, and Capone's just going to try to get as much as he can here. Picks up 1 more for a 7 box. Legendre ends up with a 9 box. All right, Mike Capone on the right with a first ball that looked pretty good. Left the 6-10. Legendre on the head pin as well. He's got 3 on the left, 1 on the right. Don't know if he's going to try to cap that wood or if he's going to try to carry the pin over. We'll see. Capone just misses the mark. Legendre goes on the red line on the wood. It just carries off the back pin, leaves him 3 more standing. And Mike Capone ends up with a 10 box. Mike Legendre ends up with a 7 box. So after 2, Mike Capone has 17. Mike Legendre has 16. And both of them are behind their opponents, Dan Finn at 22 and Bob Lee at 25. Mike Capone a little bit light on the left side of the head pin. It's a 7-10 split plus a bunch of wood. Maybe the wood will help. Going for it, and almost. He tapped it, but it didn't quite go. Mike Legendre picks up 1 more. For those of you who aren't familiar with Candlepin, which I think most people watching probably are, but in 10-pin, the 7-10 is almost impossible to make. In Candlepin, we make it sometimes if the wood is set up right. So it's not terribly unusual to make it, but it all depends on the lay of the wood. So Mike Legendre ends up with a 10 box, Mike Capone with a 9 box. Both have 26 after 3. Mike Capone in the pocket, drops 9, almost had an ugly split, but it went. Legendre off on the 3-pin, gets a lot of action, and he's left with the 1-4. So Capone picks up a mark, and Legendre needs to hit the head pin one side or the other and not cap the wood. So Capone has 36 and a ball after 4 to Dan Finn's 38. And Legendre drops 9, so he's got a 35 to Bob Lee's 51. But Mike Capone is up against Dan Finn's strike in the 5th box. So he needs a big box here. And he gets the spread eagle. Throw a nice ball, but sometimes too nice. It takes out the 4 in the back. And then a 3 in the back plus a head pin. Mike Legendre with a strike to sit. So we're starting to see some strikes here in this match. Capone through the hole. Mike Legendre, 45 plus 2 balls to Bob Lee's 60. So he's got the potential to catch up here with a big fill. And Mike Capone takes off the left side for a 7 box. He's at 47. So now our away bowlers come up. Bob Lee on the right, Dan Finn on the left. Bob Lee has a 60 half to his opponent, Mike Legender's 45 plus 2 balls. Dan Finn has his honest strike. He has 48 plus 2 balls. So Bob Lee first. Goes a nice ball. Took out 5. Dan Finn on his strike fill. First ball. And he's getting a little lucky. He's got some good action. Takes out 5. Has a diamond in the front plus the 10. Bob Lee with a spare. Oh, that looked great for Dan Finn, but it didn't quite go. He does 8 in a fill, leaves him with a 56 half for his first 5 boxes. To Mike Capone's 47. And a 9 box for 65 in this 6th. Bob Lee's at 70 plus this ball. And Danny's throwing down a ball just to get the pins to reset, hopefully. So didn't recognize that last ball. So now the score system is up and running. Bob Lee on the fill. In the left-hand pocket. And that's a 6 fill. 76 after 6. Dan Finn on his first ball. Half Worcester left. Just off the head pin on the 2 pin, and that's what happens sometimes. And Bob Lee missed that, and he knew it as soon as he let it go. All right, Finn off to the right, picked up another 2, wants to pin out here. Bob Lee with a nice 10. And Finn with the 6 box. So, at the 7th, Bob Lee has 86. Dan Finn has 71. We're going into the 8th box now. And Bob Lee's off on the 4 pin, picks up 2. And Finn drops 5 on his first ball. Bob Lee almost in the pocket, picks up a few more. And great effort on that spare, but the 10 pin does not succumb to the ball. Bob on his third ball, picks up 1 for a 7 box. And Danny has a 9, so Bob Lee has 93 after 8. Dan Finn has 80 after 8. Bob off on the 2 pin, 4 horsemen right. Danny on the head pin, leaves 3 on the right, 4 horsemen minus the head pin. Bob Lee on the spare, misses wide to the left. Finn going for the spare, he's got helpful wood. Not that helpful. Is it going to take it? Nope. Everything went flying, but that 10 pin just stayed stuck to the ground. And Bob with an 8 box for a 101 after 9. Finn with the 10 box for 90 after 9. And Bob Lee drops a strike. Was not a hammer, but it was definitely a strike.
That's a hang your head in shame strike there, Bob. It's amazing. It's an amazing ball. It was amazing. Like a hand grenade going on there.
Dan drops. This misses the mark on Dan Finn. Now he's trying to pick up a 10 to give him an even 100. And he gets it. So Dan Finn with an even 100. A little disappointing second half after a 56 first half. The door is open for Mike Capone to catch up. Mike Capone needs one spare to catch up. Mike Lee on his first fill. Bob Lee on his first fill ball. There's only 2 mics, not 3. Bob punches out with a half Worcester left. Now he just wants a lot of pins on this ball. Nicely done. Gets a 9 fill for a 120 string for Bob Lee. So Dan Finn with a 100 string, Bob Lee with a 120 string. The home bowlers now come up. Mike Legendre on the right is bowling against Bob Lee. Mike Capone on the left is bowling against Dan Finn. So, Bob Legendre on the right is on a strike. That was his first fill ball, which dropped 4. And Mike Capone is off on the 3 pin, drops 4 as well. And Legendre gets an 8 fill in the strike, so that gives him a 53 half, 7 pins behind Bob Lee's 60 after 5. Capone takes them all but the head pin. And Bob Lee, or Mike Legendre, this is wide to the right, leaves the 1-5 for an 8 box, 61 after 6. 61 after 6, and Mike Capone has 57 after 6. So Legendre's got some work to do to catch up with Bob's 120 string. Mike Capone needs a single spare, should put him over 100. But he needs that spare. Got to find it. Mike Legendre with 5, 9, 10. Tough leave. Picks up the 9. And Mike Capone has the 3, 5, 10. And he picked everything up but the 3 pin. Legendre goes through the middle for an 8 box, 69 after 7. Capone misses for a 9 box that gives him 66 after 7. So Mike Capone is 5 pins behind Dan Finn right now. Mike Legendre is 17 pins behind Bob Lee at the moment. Mike Legendre drops 7. Nice wood in front of it. Capone. Nice ball, but he's left with a 9-10. No wood to help. And Legendre picks up the mark. Legendre, or Capone trying to move that wood over. Didn't work. Made things go a little bit horizontal, but that's about all you can do on that is see if you have some piece of wood that might help. See if you can make that ball go left to right. And now he's going to try to just pick up 1. And he misses both, so he's left with an 8 box, 74 after 8 to Danny Finn's 80 after 8. Legendre's on a spare. Here's his fill. Nice ball, and does it go? There it is. Another strike. It's his second strike for the string. 10 is the fill. And Mike Capone Nice ball, but he's left with the 2-7-10 with some wood that may help here. And it does. What a shot. That was a pretty one. So right now, Legender's at 99 plus 2 balls versus Bob Lee's 101. He drops 8 to start. It's going to be close. Capone, 6 in the fill. So that ties it up. Legendre, another mark. 109 after 9. And 119 plus a fill ball. So he needs 1 to tie, 2 to win. And on the left, Capone dropped 2 more. He needs both of these pins to tie. He misses both, so he has a 98. So Dan Finn takes that string 100 to 98. We have an extremely close match between Finn and Capone. So I'll give you the updated scores as soon as we see what happens here with Mike. And Mike picks up 6 in the fill for a 125. And he comes back to finish with the win against Bob Lee in that string. Okay, and I'll give you some totals here in a second as the bowlers get set up for the next string. Okay. Okay. So in the Legendre Lee match, after 3, Mike Legendre has a 370. Bob Lee has a 316. Mike Legendre has won all points so far, all 3 strings, so he has 6 points. Dan Finn in his first box throws a 6 box. And Bob Lee gets a 9 box. And in the Finn versus Capone match, after 3 strings, Dan Finn has a 311, Mike Capone has a 310. It's a 1-pin match, and they both have 3 points. So, second box of the string, both Dan Finn and Bob Lee have marks in the second box. Both of it is spare. Dan Finn on his fill. Nice ball. And another strike. Beautiful shot. Bob Lee trying to make it 2. And he drops 9. We got some wood out in front. So that gives him 28 after 2. Dan Finn 26 after 2. And he's on a strike. And Bob's got a single pin to shoot at first pair. Okay, Bob on the spare shot. Going for the single pin. Just misses. And he misses to the left. So it's a 9 box. Bob has 37 after 3. we're going to put the pin down the lane. And Bob throws it beautifully, but he takes off the 7-pin with the pin. So we got to reset. All right, back to the action. Dan Finn on a strike, going into the 4th box. This is his first of 2 fill balls. And he does a lemon drop on the right-hand side. Probably a nice ball, 7-10 split with some wood in the middle. Dan trying to make this fill work. And he does. It's a nice 9 fill. Can't complain about that. Would have been nice to get the spare, but it didn't go. So 45 after 3 for Dan Finn. Bob attempting the 7-10 with the wood. Not quite. Looks like he wanted to just hit that wood to the left and spin it over. And Dan with a 10 box for 55 after 4. And Bobby somehow found a hole between that wood and that pin, so he ends up with a 9 box for 46 after 4. Dan with his first ball. A little light on the head pin, but ends up with the 3-10 piece of wood that might be helpful here. And Bob off on the 3-pin, ends up with a 4 horseman left plus the 10-pin. And Dan a little too much on the wood, picks up just the 3. And Bobby misses, ends up with just a 1-7 left. Dan with a 9 box for a 64 half. And Bob with an 8 box for a 54 half. We're coming up to the home bowlers, Mike Capone and Mike Legendre, the 2 mics. Here's Capone with his first ball of the 3rd string, or the 4th string. And he drops 6. Legendre has the same leave on the other side. Check mark right for Capone, check mark left for Capone, check mark right for Legendre. And he goes to the spare attempt, and the 7-pin does not go. Legendre picks up the mark for the first box. You guys are 1 pin through 3. Capone picks up the 10. And my Capone on his first ball hits just the 3-pin, takes out everything but the 4 horsemen left. Legendre, that beautiful 9 fill. That was a nice ball. And Capone just clips the head pin and it takes out 1 more, so he's got 8. Legendre with another mark. Nice shot for a 10. Takes up the 2-7 with no wood. And Mike Capone has 20 after 2. Legendre has 29 plus a ball. Capone in the pocket, leaves everything, takes everything but a triangle left. Legendre on the head pin, a little full, has a 6 drop, 3 and 1. And that gives him, after 2 boxes, a 35. Capone misses a triangle. Legendre's going for the split here. See if he can get 3 in a row. Got a shot at it, not quite. And Capone to clean up for 10. Misses left. has an 8 box for 28 after 3 to Dan Finn's 45 after 3. Legendre, nice try to pick up the split. Ends up with a 9 box for 44 after 3 to Bob Lee's 37 after 3. Capone, a little to the right of the head pin. Ends up with a little bit of a mess down there. Legendre punches through. 4 horsemen, or I'm sorry, spread eagle plus the 8 pin. Capone gave it a great shot. He got the wood moving in the right direction, but he didn't take out the 9 and 10. Legendre's trying for this. Very difficult to make spare. And Capone to pick up the 9 and 10, and he gets the 9. So a 9 box, 37 after 4. Legendre trying to clean it up, ends up with a 7 box, 51 after 4. So Capone is 37 to Finn's 55 after 4. And Legendre has a lead of 51 to 46 over Bob Lee right now. Capone again puts it in the pocket. He's left with 3 to the right and a little piece of wood that might help. Legendre with a triangle. It's off to the left. And amazingly, that didn't go. Looked like a good ball. But the 10 pin decided to stick around. Legendre misses the triangle. And Capone picks up the 10. So, all right, and Legendre has an 8. So halfway through the 4th game, Mike Legendre has a lead of 59 to 54 versus Bob Lee, and Mike Capone is behind Dan Finn. Dan has a 64, and Mike Capone has a 47. And again, reminding you that Dan Finn and Mike Capone have a 1-pin game going, match here. So total to date is 311 for Finn, 310 for Capone. Very tight match. Bob Lee off to the left. And Dan Finn off to the right, but gets a good action. There's a 4 horsemen in the right. And Lee picks up the spare. Great shot. As does Finn. So we have spares on both lane 21 and 22. And Lee with his fill ball. Picks up 5. Looked like it should be better than that. Beautiful pocket shot. Finn in the pocket. Drops 9. So after 6, Bob Lee has a 69. And Dan Finn has an 83. And Bobby Lee picks up another mark. 2 in a row. As does Dan Finn. Spares in the 6th and 7th for both bowlers. Lee on his fill. Again in the pocket. Took out 8, 9. 9 in the fill. Make sure the score system picks that up. And it did. Bob's 88 after 7. He's picked up a lot of pins in these 3 boxes. Finn in the pocket and another strike. 10 fill. 103 after 7. All marked so far in this half. Lee for the single pin mark, and he picks it up. 3 in a row for both the bowlers. So Bobby on his fill. He's off onto the 3 pin, so he picks up 3 in the fill for 101 after 8. Finn also off on the 3 pin, but he gets a lot of action here. So he has 8 on his first ball, 1-7 with an amazingly good piece of wood sitting there. Bob Lee off to the left. His string of marks ends. Finn just misses a head pin. 9 in his strikes, so after 8, Dan Finn has a 122 after 8 boxes. Bob Lee has 101 after 8 boxes. And Lee ends up with a 7 box for 108 after 9. Finn has a 10 box for 132 after 9 boxes. It's a good string. Bob off on the 3-pin. Ends up with a what he likes to call the lambda. 4 pins left. Finn off to the left. Took out 4. And 2 more for Bob. Finn on a spare attempt. Not that time. He's got 5 left on the deck. Bob's got 2. And Bob cleans up for a 10 box for a 118. And Dan gets a 7 for a 139. So again, Dan Finn with a 139, Bob Lee with a 118. That's our highest string so far in these 2 matches. Now our home bowlers come up. Mike Legendre in the pocket. It was a disappointing 6-10 split. Some wood that I don't know if it's going to help or if it's going to hurt. But I don't think he's got a choice but to use it. Spins it over, and all the wood did was clean out the other wood. Capone off to the right. 5 remaining. And Mike Legendre ends up with a 9, which I think is generally as good as you're going to get out of the situation. And Capone with an 8 box. So after 6, Mike Legendre has 68. He's 1 pin behind Bob Lee to this point at 69. Mike Capone has 55 after 6 to Dan Finn's 83 after 6. And of course, they're both up against a series of 3 marks from each of their opponents. So they must mark. Legendre marks. He answers the call. He knows he needs a mark. He got it. And Capone off to the right again. And he picked up 2 more for a 9 box. So after 7, Mike Capone's a 64 up against Dan Finn's 103 to this point. Mike Legendre, his fill ball, fills it with 5. He's at 83 to Bob Lee's 88 to this point. Mike Legendre, let me get him straight here. Mike Capone drops 6. And Legendre misses to the right. Takes out 3 more. Has 2 left on the deck. Capone just misses with 4 horsemen. And Legendre with a nice 10 box for 93 after 8. And Mike Capone has a 9 box for 73. So Bob Lee at the 8th box has 101 to Mike Legendre's 93. Dan Finn's 122 to Mike Capone's 73. Legendre needs to make at least 1 mark. Maybe out of reach for Capone on this one. Legendre has a Caleri, 4 horsemen plus the 8 pin. Goes wide, just picks up the 8. Capone's going to try the wood here, see if it works. Looked like it might, but it didn't. And Legendre has a 7 box for 100 after 9. Capone 8 for 81 after 9. So Dan Finn will win this string, but Mike has a chance if he can mark. Mark big. He needs a big mark here. That's the first step of that, so he needs a spare and a 9 fill to win this string. Capone takes out 5. And Mike misses a spare, so Bob Lee will win this string. Capone misses right. Legendre picks up the 10 for a 110 string. And Capone misses right again for a 5 box. That gives him an 86 game. So, in this string, in the 4th string, Dan Finn wins 139 to 86. And Bob Lee wins 118 to 110. So, point-wise, Mike Capone has 3 points so far. Dan Finn has 5 points so far. Mike Legendre has 6 points, and Bob Lee has 2. And again, to remind you, there's 2 points for each string that you win, and 4 points for the total. So total so far, Mike Capone with 396. Dan Finn with 450 after 4. So it's no longer a 1-pin game in that match. Mike Legendre has a 480 so far. And Bob Lee has a 434 so far. So in total right now, Dan Finn and Mike Legendre both have the advantage. And Dan picked up a lot of ground on that string. All right, Dan Finn, first ball in the 5th and final string of this match. Drops 9. Bob Lee, nice ball. Broke up the split. He also drops 9. Dan for the spare, picks it up. No problem, right in the face. Bob Lee's got some wood that may hurt. We'll see. Nope, he's trying to brush that forward-facing wood against the pin as opposed to capping it. So that's a tough challenge to do. And misses the other side. So Bob has a 9 box. Dan is on a spare. Here's his fill ball. And he gets a spread eagle. One of my least favorite leaves of all. I hate that leave. It's a 4 fill, so 14 in the first box. Bob Lee's got a half Worcester. To the right. Finn trying the standard 3 and 3 approach to the spread eagle. See if Lee goes to the inside or the outside on this. He's going to the inside, and he gets it. Beautifully done. That's how you do that. Finn with an 8 box, 9 box. Is it going to be a 9? It's a 9 box. 22 after 2 for Dan Finn. And 19 plus a ball after 2 for Bobby Lee. Finn on his fill. Or no, I'm sorry, he doesn't have a fill. So he throws a half Worcester left. Bob Lee on his fill. And there it is. Another strike. Wow, what a strike. Paul Grant, I don't think you have a copyright on that yet, so I'll still say wow when a wow is warranted. And that was warranted. That was a great strike. 10 fill. So 29 after 2 for Bob Lee, 23 after 2 for Dan Finn, and he pinned out beautifully on the half Worcester for a 9 box, 32 after 3. Both bowlers are above par. It's something Bob taught me a while ago with the if you're over 10 times the number of boxes you have, you're above par. You're aiming at over 100. 100 game would be perfectly par. Bob on the first ball of his fill. Does he do it again? Not quite. 9 on the first ball. Finn picked up 2 on the right. And cleaned up a bunch. He's got 2 left at 110. Lee for the spare. There it is. There it is. 3 in a row for Bob Lee. So 49 after 3 for him. And Dan Finn has an 8 box for 41 after 4. So after 4 boxes, or 40 after 4. My math is wrong. So Dan Finn has 40 after 4. Bob Lee has 59 plus a ball after 4 with 3 marks in a row. Finn on his first ball, off to the right a little bit, gets some good action, so he's left with the 1, 2, 4, and 5. Bob Lee on a fill ball gets a half Worcester right, so it gives him 61 after 4. Only 2, but it's 2 you didn't have. Almost. He's going to try to spare the half Worcester twice in a row, and he does. He does. Twice in this half, he spared the half Worcester.
Shouldn't have to practice that.
And Finn with a 9 box. So after 5, Danny Finn has 49. Bob Lee has 71 plus a ball. He's got a great game going. All right, and now our home bowlers are up. Mike Capone, his first ball, off to the left a little bit, picks up 7. Mike Legendre right in there, and is rewarded with a 2-10 split. I believe that's 2-10. Might be 4-10. I'm sorry, 4-10. And he's going for it. Nice try. Try to kick the pin over to the 10. Tough to do. Made a great effort at it. Mike Capone with a 10 box. 2 Mikes, 2 10 boxes. Okay, coming into the second box. Capone with his first ball. In the pocket, and can you believe that? What a leave. Legendre in the pocket, drops 9. Sometimes this game is not fair. Capone's got a shot of that. Wood may help. We'll see. Right there, and it leaves the 7 and 8 pen. And Legendre just kisses the 10 pin, picks up a spare. So 20 and a ball after 2 for Mike Legendre. And a nice pickup for Mike Capone for 20 after 2. So after 2, Dan Finn has 23. Mike Capone has 20. And on the other side, Mike Legendre has 20 plus a ball versus Bob Lee's 29 to this point. And again, Mike Capone throws a ball in the left-hand pocket and is rewarded with the 5, 6, 9, 10. Very difficult leave. Legendre puts 4 on a spare, so he's at 24 after 2. And he tries to make that wood work, and will it work? The 10 pin's wiggling, but it won't fall down. Legendre. That was a great effort on a nearly impossible shot. And a 10 box for Mike Capone, 7 bucks for Mike Legendre. Mike Capone's at 30 after 3. He's taken down every pin. Mike Legendre's at 31 after 3. And that time it worked for Capone. He drops 8. He's got the 1-2 pin. It's very makeable. Just got to hit the 1 pin. Legendre's left with his 6, 7, 10. Or I'm sorry, 7, 8, 10. 7, 8, 10. And there's some wood there. He's going to have to take something off the wall to bring it over to the 10. And that's exactly what he tried to do. I know Mike is very good at that. And sometimes it doesn't work, but he did a great effort. 10 bucks for Mike Capone. Or 9 bucks for Mike Capone, sorry. 39 after 4. And Mike took that out, Legendre took that out of the gutter, so that's a 9 bucks. So after 4, Mike Capone has 39 to Dan Finn's 40. Bob Legendre has 40 to Bob Lee's 61 to this point. Mike Capone drops 6. 1, 2, 7, 8. Legendre drops 7. A little late action on that. And Capone, wow, what a try on that one. Left the 7 pin. Legendre picks it up clean. Nice spare. Nice spare. Is that a 10 bucks? Okay. So Mike Capone ends up with a 10 bucks, and the Dan Finn versus Mike Capone game is tied at 49 each after 5. And after 5, Bob Lee is 71 plus the ball versus Mike Legendre's 50 plus the ball. So right now Bob has a 21 pin advantage after 5 boxes. So let's see what happens here. Bob's bowling great right now. So he's on a spare in the 5th. This is his fill ball. Great action, drops 8. So his first half, Bob Lee just put up a 79 first half. And he's got a spare leave here in the 6th. And he picks it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 marks in a row for Bob Lee. Five in a row. We don't see that every day. And Finn with a 10 bucks for 59 after 6. Bob Lee's at 89 plus a ball after 6. And his fill in on the head pin fills with 7 is a 96 after 6. Dan Finn, should have been a strike. Will it be a strike? It is a strike. Wow. I think the shot clock was about to run out on that one, but he got it. Bob Lee going for 6 in a row. And he gets it. 6 in a row. 6 spares in a row for Bob Lee. Well, 1 was a strike. 6 marks in a row. And on the fill, Bob Lee's at 106 plus a ball in the 7th frame. And off to the left, he didn't get a half Worcester, but pretty close to it. He fills with 4. 110 after 7. Dan Finn, first ball in his strike, is 3. Bob's got a tough spare leave here. And the string of marks comes to an end. But it was great. 6 in a row. And Dan Finn fills his strike with 9, so he's at 78 after 7. Bob looking to pin at least an 8 box here. And he takes an 8 for a 118 after 8. And Danny Finn picks up a 10 for 88 after 8. Bob Lee off to the left a little bit. He's on the 2 pin. He's 3 and 1. Finn on the 3 pin. Oh, Bob Lee is very, very close to making that spare, but the pin got caught in the gutter. Couldn't hit it any better than that. Thin, right in there, but the 5 pin decides to be stubborn and stays up. Bob for a $10. Never in doubt, gives him 128 after 9. Danny Finn misses right, 97 after 9. And in his final box of this match, Bob Lee broke up the spare, nice ball. It's got the 6 and the 10. Finn on a head pin. Very well. The 9-10, if the wood will move over, maybe it'll help. Lee on the wood, but not on the pins. No mark. Now Finn's got, really the only shot is to bring that wood off the wall. And it worked. He picks up the spare, 107 and a ball in the 10th. And Bobby took that out of the gutter. So in 8 box, Bob ends up with a 136 string. What string, Bobby? Okay. And Dan fills his spare with a 4, a 3? Yeah, 3. So he ends up with, waiting for the screen to clear here, as our home bowlers come up. Mike Legendre is on a spare. He's at 50 plus a ball so far. He's got a ways to go to get that to Bob's 136. And a beautiful ball, drops 8, gives him 58 after the first half. And Mike Capone gets a lemon drop on the left. Dan Finn ended up with a 110 in that string. And Legendre spares. He's definitely going to challenge Bob Lee. And Mike Capone picks up a few more. He's got 5 left. Needs, I would say, 2 marks to catch Dan. And that's an 8 box. So he's at 57, and Dan Finn is at 59 at the same point in the game. Mike Legendre in the pocket, 7 on the fill. And misses left of the spare attempt. Mike Capone has the castle left. And picks up 2 of them, which is pretty typical of that leave. And Legendre picks up 1 more for a 9 box, gives him 84 after 7. Capone picks up a 10, so after 7 boxes, Bob Lee has 110 to Mike Legendre's 84. Dan Finn 78 to Mike Capone 67. And Legendre comes in to the left, drops 4. Capone off to the right, drops 5. Has a bit of a split there. They're all together at least for Legendre, but he goes wide right. Capone trying to catch that 1 pin, just missed. And Legendre ends up with an 8 box for 92 after 8. And an 8 box for Mike Capone gives him 75. So Capone has 75 to Dan Finn's 88 to this point. Legendre has 92 to Lee's 118 at this point. Nice ball from Mike Legendre. drops 7. Capone off to the left, drops 6. And Legendre picks up the 10 pin, has 2 left. Capone, great effort. Picks up all but the 10 pin. And Legendre has a 9 for a 101 after 9 to Bob's 128. Capone has a 9 box for an 84 to the 9th box to Dan's 97. Finn had a spare in the 10th. So Mike Capone needs and a strike for Legendre. And even with the triple, Bob Lee will win this match. This string. Capone drops 8. That's a spare leave there. And amazingly, the spare does not go. I thought that was in. So Dan Finn will win this string. And a 10 box for Mike Capone for a 94 string. And on his first fill box, Mike Legendre with 9 so far, almost picked up another strike.
$600, Danny.
And 9 box for Legendre for a 600 total. So Legendre ends up with a, let's see what his string was.
You can win this one, then you go.
All right, so to recap, Mike Legendre ends up with a 120. Bob Lee wins a string. Mike Legendre wins total. So Legendre has 10 points to Bob Lee's 4 points with a 600 total versus Bob Lee's 570. Excellent bowling from both guys. On the other side, Capone had a 490 and Dan Finn had a 560. So for total points, 3, 5, 7. Dan Finn wins 11 points to Mike Capone's 3 points. So a great match today. Some excellent bowling from everybody. Real tight match for a little bit with Mike and Danny, but in the end, Danny came out ahead. So thanks for joining us. Hope you had a great time, and we'll see you at the next ACST match.
Thanks, Danny.